Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at how to really nail those New Year's resolutions. You know, the ones, especially the ones about money. You guys have told us you're really trying to level up your financial smarts this year, and we found the perfect book for that. It's called New Year, New Clients, a guide for Filipino financial advisors by Melvin Cecilio C. Valenzuela. And you might be thinking, wait, I'm not a financial advisor, and neither am I. But this book, it's packed with useful stuff that anyone can use, especially if you're in the Philippines.
Yeah, and what I think is really cool is how the book digs into the culture in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Like New Year's resolutions there. It's not just a thing people say,
Yeah.
They're really like a big part of how people think.
It's like a total reset,
Wow.
wiping everything clean and starting fresh. The book talks about how Filipinos are really into this idea of hope and new beginnings when the year starts.
Right, exactly. Like, think about Media Noche. That's the Filipino New Year's Eve party. It's not just a party. It's like families come together, they share a huge meal, and the biggest thing is they pray for a better future. So there's all this energy around hope, and I think that's why New Year's resolutions are such a big deal in the Philippines.
So it's not just about your own personal goals. It's like everyone wants a better future together. I see why the book talks about this so much. But let's be real for a sec. Resolutions are famous for, not lasting. We've all been there, right? You start with all this energy, and then by February, poof, it's gone. So why do they fail, and how do we actually make them stick?
The book goes into that in a really smart way. Like, one big mistake is trying to do too much all at once, like trying to change your diet and exercise and money all at the same time. Our brains can only handle so much change, right?
That's so true. I've totally done that before. So instead of trying to do everything at once, the book says to focus on just a couple of things, right?
It's exactly. You got to pick one or two things that are really important and give those your full attention. Then once you're making progress, you can add more stuff. It's all about changes you can keep up, not just going crazy for a week and then giving up.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint. But what about those resolutions where we try to make ourselves do stuff we actually hate? Like, I know some people love running, but I'd much rather go for a walk or a hike. Does the book have any advice for those kinds of situations?
Definitely. The book says it's super important to pick resolutions that fit with who you are and what you care about. Like, if you hate running, don't force yourself to run. Find something you actually enjoy. You're way more likely to stick with it if it's fun. Same with money. If you're using a budgeting app that you hate, chances are you'll give up on it.
That makes total sense. Do what you enjoy and you'll actually do it. But even with the best plans, life throws us curveballs, right? Like unexpected bills, job changes, family emergencies. All that stuff can mess with our plans, even our financial ones. Does the book talk about that?
Yeah, it does. It says life happens, and we need to be flexible. Like, don't beat yourself up if things get off track. The key is to adapt and adjust, not just give up completely. Like, instead of saying, I'm going to save $500 every month no matter what, you can say, I'm going to save as much as I can every month and try to hit at least $500. So you still have a goal, but you're also being realistic about, life.
I love that. Progress, not perfection, right?
Exactly. And that leads us to the book's 6 rules for making this year your best financial year ever. These rules help you move from just wishing for things to actually making them happen.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me about these 6 rules. What's the first one?
The first one is review, which might sound weird since we're looking ahead to a new year.
Yeah.
But the book says we should look back at the past year, not in a bad way, but more like a reflection. It's about learning from what happened, both the good and the bad.
I like that, like taking stock of what worked and what didn't without judging yourself. What kind of questions does the book say to ask yourself during this review time?
It really wants you to be honest with yourself. Questions like, what were your biggest wins? What challenges did you face? What are you proud of? And yeah, even what do you regret? It's all about understanding yourself better, which is really important for growing.
That makes a lot of sense. If you know where you've been, you can figure out where you want to go. So after review, what's next?
It's preview. This is where you get to dream a little. The book says to imagine your perfect future. Close your eyes and think about where you want to be a year from now. What are you doing? How do you feel? What have you achieved, especially with your money? It's about getting excited about all the possibilities of a new year.
So you're making a picture in your mind of your ideal future and then working backwards to figure out how to get there.
Exactly. And that's where setting realistic and exciting goals comes in. The book is really big on SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right. SMART goals. I've heard of those before, but I'm curious how the book uses them for money stuff. So we've reviewed the past and previewed the future. What's next?
It's prepare. This is where you lay the foundation for success. The book talks about figuring out what you need to reach your financial goals and then going out and getting it. This might mean learning new skills, making a budget, or even finding people who can support you and help you stay on track.
So it's not just about wishing for things, it's about putting things in place to actually make your financial dreams happen.
Exactly. And this preparation phase also means making a detailed plan. It's like drawing a map with clear steps to reach each of your money goals.
I'm starting to see how this book is more than just about New Year's resolutions. It's like a strategic plan for your money.
It really is. And that strategic thinking is important in the next rule, which is set goals. And not just any goals, those SMART goals we keep talking about.
Right. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. I'm ready to break down each of those and see how they work with money goals. Let's start with specific. What's an example of a specific money goal?
Instead of something vague like save more money, a specific goal would be save 20% of my income every month, or save $5,000 for a down payment on a house by December. The more specific, the better.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about having a clear target. What about measurable?
That means you can actually see how you're doing. So instead of just saying reduce debt, you could say pay off $2,000 of credit card debt by June. That way you can see yourself getting closer to your goal, which is super motivating.
I can see how that would be helpful. It's like watching one of those progress bars fill up. All right, what about achievable?
Achievable means setting goals that you can actually reach. It's great to be ambitious, but you got to be honest with yourself about what's possible. If you set goals that are too hard, you'll just end up disappointed.
That's good advice. So it's about finding that balance between pushing yourself and being realistic about what you can do. What about relevant?
Relevant means making sure your money goals fit with your values and your overall life vision. They shouldn't be random. Your financial goals should be part of your bigger purpose and help you feel good about your life.
I love that. It's about connecting your finances to what really matters to you. What about time-bound? What's an example of a time-bound money goal?
A good example would be start investing $100 per month in a mutual fund by February 1st. Instead of just saying invest my future, setting deadlines makes things feel more urgent and helps you stay on track.
So it's like adding a little pressure to keep yourself accountable. All right, we've covered the first 4 rules: review, preview, prepare, and set goals. SMART goals, of course. What are the last 2 rules in this plan for a successful year?
The 5th rule is where the rubber meets the road. It's called take action. And it's all about moving from planning to doing. It's about getting over those initial hurdles and pushing through even when things get tough.
So no more procrastinating. It's time to take those plans and actually do them.
Exactly. The book says it's really important to start now, not tomorrow, not next week. Take that first step, even if it's small, and keep going.
I like that action over procrastination.
Yeah.
Okay, last rule, drum roll, please.
The 6th rule is adjust. Because life is unpredictable. Your goals and plans might need to change along the way. This rule is about staying flexible, adapting to unexpected stuff, and being open to changing course.
So it's not about giving up when things get hard. It's about being willing to adjust your sails.
Exactly. It's about knowing that reaching your money goals is a journey, not a race. There will be detours and bumps along the way.
Okay, I'm really liking this discussion. We talked about how important New Year's resolutions are in the Philippines and the common mistakes that stop us from reaching our goals. And now these 6 rules for a successful year. But we haven't really talked about what it's like to deal with money in the Philippines specifically.
You're right. That's a big part of this book that we need to talk about. It's not just about general money advice. It's about understanding the Philippines and what makes it different, both the good and the bad.
That sounds like a perfect place to pick up when we come back for part 2. I'm ready to learn more.
Welcome back to our deep dive into New Year, New Clients. We're figuring out how to make this year the best one yet for your money. So far, we've talked about how important those New Year's resolutions are in Filipino culture and how to avoid those common mistakes that trip us up. But now I'm really curious to hear more about what it's actually like to manage money in the Philippines. What are some of the tough things that people there have to deal with? Well, one of the first things the book talks about is how much people in the Philippines know about money. Like understanding the basics of how it all works. It's been getting better, but there's still a ways to go.
I see how that would be a big problem. If you don't even understand the basics, it's hard to make good choices with your money, right?
Exactly. And it can make people do things with their money that aren't good for them, or even get tricked by others.
So that's one challenge, not enough financial knowledge. What else does the book talk about?
Another big one is how unpredictable the economy in the Philippines can be. Like it's really affected by what's happening in the global economy, and by natural disasters, which makes planning for the future kind of tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. When things are so up in the air, it can make people really stressed about money.
For sure. And on top of that, there are more and more financial advisors in the Philippines, so it's getting harder for them to stand out and get people to trust them.
So it sounds like it's tough for both regular people trying to manage their money and for the professionals who are trying to help them. But the book must also talk about the good stuff, right? Like the opportunities.
Oh, definitely. Even though there are challenges, there are also a lot of exciting things happening in the Filipino financial world. Like in recent years, the Philippines has had strong economic growth, and that's created a bigger middle class. And with more people in the middle class, there's more demand for financial planning.
So more people have the money to invest and plan for the future, but they might need some guidance.
Exactly. And there's also a huge chance to reach people in the Philippines who haven't had access to financial services before, like people in rural areas or people who are just starting out in their careers.
I hadn't thought of that. But you're so right. It's really important to make sure everyone has the knowledge and resources they need to manage their money. What other opportunities does the book mention?
It talks a lot about how technology is changing things, especially fintech, financial technology. These changes are making it easier to reach people, provide services, and make everything more efficient.
So technology is helping out both the people who need financial advice and the people who give it.
Right. It's making things easier and more efficient for everybody. And here's another opportunity that's tied to Filipino culture, the focus on long-term growth and taking care of the family.
That's a beautiful part of Filipino culture, that strong family bond.
Absolutely. And that means there's a real demand for financial products and services that help families plan for the long haul. Things like retirement planning, saving for kids' education, and strategies to protect their wealth.
So it's not just about making money for yourself. It's about creating a secure future for your whole family.
Exactly. And the book says that this focus on family is a big opportunity for financial advisors who can offer solutions that help the whole family.
Okay, so we've got this picture of the financial landscape in the Philippines. There are challenges like not enough financial knowledge and an unpredictable economy. But there are also amazing opportunities for growth, innovation, and reaching people who've been left out.
Right. And it's all about understanding those differences and changing your approach to fit.
Now, thinking back to those 6 rules from the book, especially the one about taking action, what are some things our listeners can do right now to start making progress toward their money goals?
One of the biggest takeaways is that it's never too late to start taking control of your finances. Don't let feeling overwhelmed stop you from doing anything, whether you want to pay off debt, start investing, or just figure out your budget. The first step is deciding to make a change.
I think a lot of people get scared by the idea of changing everything about their finances.
Yeah, it can be a lot. That's why the book says to start slow. Make small, manageable changes and build good habits over time. It's like working out. You don't start by lifting the heaviest weights. You build up to it.
So true. It's about building those financial muscles step by step. What are some small things our listeners could do today to get started?
It could be something as simple as downloading a budgeting app, or making an appointment with a financial advisor, or even just sitting down with your family to talk about your money goals.
I love that. It's about taking that first step, no matter how small it seems, and then just keep going.
Exactly. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins along the way. It'll help you stay motivated and make those good habits stick.
Celebrating is so important. It helps us see how far we've come and keeps our eyes on the prize. But let's go back to the Philippines for a minute. We talked about how there's not a lot of financial knowledge and how the economy can be unpredictable. What does the book say about dealing with those challenges?
It says it's super important to find resources that are made for your specific situation. In the Philippines, there are a lot of organizations and banks that offer financial education programs, and these programs are made just for Filipinos.
So it's about doing your homework and finding the right help for you. And what about those great opportunities we talked about, like the growing need for financial advice and the importance of family in Filipino culture? How can our listeners in the Philippines use those to their advantage?
Well, if you're thinking about a career change, the financial advisory industry in the Philippines is booming. There's a huge need for good advisors who can help families plan for the future.
That's a great point. And even if you don't want to be a financial advisor, understanding these trends can help you make better choices about your own money.
Absolutely. The bottom line is that no matter where you are in your financial journey, there are always things you can do to get closer to your goals.
And you don't have to do it alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. find a financial advisor you trust, and build a support system.
I agree completely. Learning about money is a lifelong thing, and it's definitely worth it.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into New Year, New You, financially speaking. It all comes from the book New Year, New Clients. We've covered a lot, like how New Year's resolutions are a big deal in Filipino culture, and what makes the financial scene in the Philippines so unique.
Right, we've talked about financial literacy and taking care of yourself financially and building a support system. But now let's talk about what you, our listener, can do, to make some real positive changes with your money.
One thing that really stuck with me from the book is that idea of shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. That sounds kind of deep, but what does it actually mean, like in real life?
Well, it means seeing all the good things you already have in your life.
Yeah.
Even if your money situation isn't perfect, it's about appreciating what you have instead of focusing on what you don't.
So it's about being grateful and seeing the resources you already have, like your income, your skills, your support network.
Exactly. And when you look at your finances from a place of abundance, you're more likely to make choices that are good for you in the long run. You're less likely to do something impulsive just because you're scared or feel like you don't have enough.
I can see how that would change everything. When you feel abundant, you make different choices. You invest in yourself, you take smart risks, and you're more open to new things.
Another important point from the book is taking control of your financial future. It's about being proactive, learning about money and making your own decisions. Don't just blindly trust other people with your money.
So it's about being financially smart and taking charge, right?
Exactly. It's about understanding how money works, how to manage it well, and how to make it work for you. And this idea of empowerment goes beyond just you. The book also talks about how financial literacy can help the whole community.
Yeah, that makes sense. When more people know about money, it creates a more stable and successful society.
Exactly. It's about giving everyone the knowledge and skills to manage their money well and reach their goals. So let's get practical. What are some concrete steps our listeners can take to start using these ideas?
Well, the book says to start by honestly looking at your finances. Like really see where you're at with your money, your income, your expenses, debts, assets, everything.
That might mean creating a budget or tracking your spending for a couple of months to see where your money is actually going, or even checking your credit report. The point is to get a clear picture of how healthy your finances are.
Once you know where you're starting, you can start setting those SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right. SMART goals. They're like a roadmap to success.
Yep.
And once you have those goals, it's time to make a plan, a step-by-step guide to reach those goals.
That might mean setting up a regular savings plan, or figuring out how to pay off debt, or looking into investments that fit your risk tolerance and how long you want to invest for.
And don't forget to break down those big goals into smaller, more manageable steps. It makes everything less scary and helps you stay motivated.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And every step you take, even the tiny ones, is a step in the right direction.
Exactly. And along the way, don't forget to celebrate your successes, even the small ones. It keeps you going and makes those good habits stick.
Celebrating is like giving yourself a high five for doing a good job. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are resources and people who can help. Don't be afraid to talk to a financial advisor, a mentor, or even a friend you trust.
Having a support system is so important. Learning about money is a journey, and it's way more fun when you have people to share it with. It's about always learning, adapting, and growing.
So true. And with the right attitude, the right tools, and the right people around you, you can definitely achieve your financial dreams and build a better future for yourself and the people you care about.
To everyone listening, we hope you'll take on this new year, New You Financially Speaking Challenge. Take control of your money. Set those SMART goals and start taking action today, even if it's just a tiny step.
You got this, and we're here cheering you on all the way.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into financial empowerment. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time when we explore another fascinating topic. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep working towards your financial best.